Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Om
Bhagavate
Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Bhejire Munayo Thagre.
Bhejire Muniyotagre.
Yothagre.
Bhagwantam Adhokshajam.
Bhagavantam
Bhagavatam
Adhokshajam.
Adhokshajam.
Tattvam Vishuddham Kshemaya.
Sattvam
Tattvam
Vishuddham
Vishuddham
Maya.
Kshemaya.
Kalpante ye nutaniha.
Kalpante
Kalpante
Nutaniha.
Nutaniha.
Anyone wants to volunteer for reading the translation and purport?
I can read.
Anji, please.
Purport. Previously, all the great sages rendered service. Translation. Previously, all the great sages rendered service unto the personality of Godhead due to his existence above the three mode of material nature. They worship him to become free from material conditions and thus derive the ultimate benefit. Whoever follows such great authorities is also eligible for liberation from the material world. Purport. The purpose of performing religion is neither to profit by material gain nor to get the simple knowledge of discerning matter from spirit. The ultimate aim of religious performances is to release oneself from material bondage and regain the life of freedom in the transcendental world, where the personality of Godhead is the supreme person. Laws of supreme person. Laws of religion, therefore, are directly enacted by the personality of Godhead, and except for the Mahajans or the authorized agents of the Lord, no one knows the purpose of religion. There are 12 particular agents of the Lord who know the purpose of religion, and all of them render transcendental service unto him. Persons who desire their own good may follow these Mahajans and thus attain the supreme benefit. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. So, I'll read the translation again. Previously, all the great sages rendered service unto the personality of Godhead due to his existence above the three modes of material nature. They worshipped him to become free from material conditions and thus derive the ultimate benefit. Whoever follows such authorities is also eligible for liberation from material world. So which authorities are they talking about? Can anybody tell? What authorities are they talking about?
12 Mahajans.
Yes, 12 Mahajans. So who are the 12 Mahajans? Can anybody name?
Yes.
Yes, Praji, go ahead.
Narad,
Okay.
Narad Muni, Dhur Maharaj, Kapil Muni, Prahlad Maharaj, Bhishma Pitama. All covered, Prabhuji.
All covered 12 already?
No, Sukhdev Goswami.
Maharaj Janak.
Bali Maharaj, yeah. Yeah, Janak Maharaj, correct. Thank you, Mataji. All covered, yeah.
Yamraj Prabhu.
Yamaraj is...
Shukdev Goswami.
Yeah, I told Sukhdev Goswami, Mataji.
Okay.
Hari bol. Thank you, Prabhu. So 12 Mahajans are there. So this is a famous shloka. It's actually from Mahabharata and also here quoted in Chaitanya Charitamrita. तारको प्रतिष्ठा श्रुतयो विभिन्ना नाश वृषिर यस्य मतम न भिन्नम धर्मस्य तत्वम निहितम गुहायम महाजनो येना गता सपंता. So you'll hear many times in the lecture devotee will be quoting, devotees will be saying the last line, Mahajano yena gata sapanta. One has to follow the footsteps of the Mahajans. So this is the complete shloka. So let's read the translation. Anyone wants to volunteer for reading the translation?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, मैं पढ़ूं?
Yes.
Dry arguments are inconclusive. A great personality whose opinion does not differ from others is not considered a great sage. Simply by studying the Vedas, which are variegated, one cannot come to the right path by which religious principles are understood. The solid truth of religious principles is hidden in the heart of an unadulterated, self realized person. Consequently, as the Shastras confirm, one should accept whatever progressive path the Mahajans advocate. Very good.
Hare Krishna. So this is during the Vanaparama spoken by Yudhishthira Maharaj in Mahabharata. And what does it mean? Dry arguments are inconclusive. A great personality whose opinion does not differ from others is not considered a great sage. Can anybody explain? What is this?
मुझे एक्सप्लेन तो नहीं करना आता बट ये है ना ड्राई आर्गुमेंट्स आर इनकंक्लूसिव ये सब अपन ने अभी भगवत गीता में भी पढ़ा था मायावादीज हैव लाइक स्पेकुलेशन तो डिफरेंट टाइप्स बताए गए थे कि एक होता है ब्राह्मण और एक होता है कौन बात करता है नहीं याद आ रहा प्रभु जी बट मैंने ये पढ़ा था ग्रेट पर्सनालिटी whose opinion does not differ from others is not considered a great sage as like only a person who can differ is a person who is called as a muni.
Correct. So this is in the mundane sense. You know, mundane people, they come out of their own philosophy, own reason, own way of doing things. Because Vedas, they are very, very vast. So people who are not authorized, they sometimes can come out of opposite meaning without really having any scriptural basis, without any having acharya basis, not have following anyone. They just come up with some or the other thing. And what is the idea? To impress others. That see, I know better than you. You know, I can come up with this. So this is the point of saying that the Vedas are variegated, means so much variety they have. And if you read the Vedas without really following the Mahajans or the great personalities, you will not necessarily come to the right conclusion. In fact, people, they just argue to for no reason. And this used to happen in the past also. Great munis, philosophers, they will do the scriptures, reading, discussion, and debates. But the idea of debate was how I can prove my point to be superior than his point, just for dry argument. So these kind of intentions and motives cannot lead one to the right path. Then what is the way? The way is to follow the path which is great personalities have given. Solid truth of religious principle is hidden in the heart of an unadulterated, self-realized person. So basically, you have to approach a person, a guru, who is actually knowing the Shastras and who is following the Mahajans. Such a person we have to approach and follow. So that is the reason one has to accept the Guru, like we were discussing in this morning session today. So here also, same point. Previously, all great sages rendered service unto the personality of Godhead due to his existence above the three modes of material nature. So Krishna is above the three modes of material nature, and he is actually worshipped by all the great sages. And because the great sages worshipped, they actually derived great benefit, right? And how did they do that? They followed the great authorities. They followed great authorities, great personalities, and therefore they were able to stay in the right path. So when they do that, then they get perfection of life, go back to Godhead, liberation from the material world. So that is essentially what is being mentioned here. Anybody else would like to add more points? Any comments, questions?
I have a question.
Yes, Isha. Hare Krishna.
How do you know you're on the right path?
Very good question. And first of all, thank you for joining. I hope you liked yesterday's session.
I did.
Okay, very good. So like I was mentioning yesterday, one has to get guidance when one is on the path, just like in your school. When you go, you take right exams, and then you get to know whether you're scoring correctly or not. You go back home, and then you fix whatever things you don't know. Similarly, here also we have to take guidance from those who are slightly more experienced than us, who have had more exposure, who've been learning for longer time, who are practicing. So from them, we have to ask questions. We have to share our heart, share our situation. This is our situation. This is what I did, and how I can implement it better. So when we get guidance, then that way we know whether we are right path. The other thing is, when we are following the process, slowly, what happens is we start feeling the change within. We start having more and more um, uh, positive changes in our heart. Like previously, we may be having mentality of getting angry easily, having mentality of ego and hatred, feeling bad, finding faults. Um, so all these actually propensities transform and became positive, from hate to love, from exploitativeness to generosity, from pride to humility. These changes come. Selfless service attitude develops. We want to serve Krishna. We want to serve devotees. We want to hear more about Krishna. We want to attend the meetings where Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam are being read and discussed. We have to, um, um, we like to participate in them. We like to chant more. So all these changes start happening in us. And when these changes are happening, that means we are on the right path. And till the time they don't come, we have to continue the process. Just like sometimes when we are diseased, taking one dose of medicine may not cure the disease right away, but you follow the path. The doctors have given the medicine, okay, you take this for 10 days 3 times a day. So if you do that nicely, then you will see after 10 days your disease is cured. But if you just take one day or one dose or two dose, and you feel, oh my God, nothing is happening, how will I know whether I'm getting cured or not? Be patient and continue the process. So that way the medicine will act and it will cure the problem. Does it answer your question?
Yeah, but what if you don't get guidance and you just chant?
If you don't get guidance and you get if you continue to chant, then Krishna will make arrangements that you get guidance. Krishna will
Okay.
also guide you, and he will connect you to the right people at the right time.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else would like to make any points with regards to the beautiful question which was asked? All right, so we'll go to the next shloka then.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.26. Mumukshavo ghora rupan
Mumukshavo ghora rupan
hitva bhutapatin atha
हित्वा
हित्वा
hitva
भूतापतिना
bhutapatinatha
narayana kala shanta
नारायण
Narayana Kala
शान्ता
Shanta
bhajanti hi anashuyava.
भजन्ति
Bhajanti hi
यवा
Anasuyava.
Hare Krishna. Anybody would like to volunteer to read the translation? Purple?
I can read Prabhuji
Yes,
if
ma'am.
nobody is. Those who are serious about liberation are certainly non-envious and they respect all. Yet they reject the horrible and ghastly forms of the demigods and worship only the all blissful forms of Lord Vishnu and his plenary portions. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji, for reading. So, previous shloka, they're mentioning about follow the footsteps of the Mahajans and worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then they're saying here, those who are serious about liberation are certainly non-envious and they respect all. So, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Trinadapi sunichena, taroriva sahishnunam, amanina manadina. What is the last?
कीर्तनया सदा हरि
Kirtaniya Sadahari. Yes. So the way to chant the holy name constantly is to make oneself feel more humble, actually, by following devotional service and understanding one's position. One has to be more humble than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree, ready to offer all respect to others and expect none in return. So we have to respect every single living entity. In fact, even those which are not living. A great personality, he is actually in the spiritual consciousness. So because he is in spiritual consciousness, in spiritual world, everything is conscious. Even the grass is conscious, even the floor is conscious, even the jewelry is conscious, even the dhoti is conscious, everything is conscious. There is nothing without consciousness. There is nothing dead. Spiritual world, everything is conscious. Even the prasad is conscious, and prasad is very happy when you honor the prasad in spiritual world. That is how the prasad actually uh, feels most happy when you honor. So the spiritual dynamics is different. So those who are in spiritual consciousness, they respect every single living being and also every single thing. They are not disrespectful because they have the consciousness that I am the servant of the servant. Because they're thinking I am the servant of the servant, they don't disrespect. For example, I'll tell you an incident. What happened? His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, I heard this from some devotees, that he His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj once had a gallbladder surgery. So they brought the gallbladder and showed, like, what usually they do. So this was in devotee hospital, Bhaktivedanta hospital. It's all devotee doctors and everything. So the doctors showed Maharaj the gallbladder. And what did Maharaj do? Maharaj paid obeisances to the gallbladder and thanked the gallbladder for serving me for so many years. Now, this is the consciousness of a person who is really grateful. So, great personality, he is grateful for each and every one and each and everything. One may see the gallbladder as, Arey, this is the gallbladder which was hurting me, which was paining me, which was causing all these, miserable symptoms which I was getting. But a great personality, he doesn't see it like that. He's actually paying obeisances that you served me for so long. So this is the consciousness of a highly advanced personality, right? So this is what we see is a sign of respecting everyone, respecting all, because there is no envy, because the consciousness is of the servant of the servant of the servant. And because they respect all, obviously they respect the demigods. I mean, demigods are so advanced personalities. However, they do not equate them in the same level as Krishna. Just because I respect somebody doesn't mean I have to make that person Bhagwan, right? And sometimes the demigods forms, they are very horrible and ghastly. Like they will be having blood coming out, and they are killing demons, and those are the forms sometimes, especially Kali Mata and all, very very sometimes fearful forms, right? So and so many others. So such horrible and ghastly forms of the demigods are not worshipped, but the supreme personality of Godhead, his form is transcendental, so his form is worshipped, right? So we'll read the purport now for more discussion. Anyone wants to volunteer to read the purport? Okay, Ansh will read purport.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, who is the original person of the Vishnu categories, explains himself in two different categories, namely integrated, planary portions, and separated parts and parcels. The separated parts and parcels are the servitors and the integrated planetary portions of Vishnu Tattvas are the worshipped objects of service.
Okay, thank you very much, very good. So Vishnu categories expands himself into two different categories, right? So one is the integrated plenary portions and separated parts and parcels. The separated parts and parcels are the servitors, and the integrated plenary portion of Vishnu Tattvas are the worshipful objects of service. So where so we have read this before, right? Separated parts and parcels are the living entities, and the plenary portions, integrated plenary portions are the Vishnu Tattvas. Right? Everyone remembers? We read this before. So now we'll read next paragraph. Who will volunteer to read the next?
Can I?
Yes, please.
All demigods who are empowered by the Supreme Lord are also separated parts and parcels. They do not belong to the categories of Vishnu Tattvya. The Vishnu Tattvas are living beings equally as powerful as the original form of the personality of Godhead, and they display different categories of power in consideration of different times and circumstances. The separated parts and parcels are powerful by limitation. They do not have unlimited power like the Vishnu Tattvas. Therefore, one should never classify the Vishnu Tattvas or the plenary portions of Narayana and the personality of Godhead in the same categories. With the parts and parcels, if anyone does so, he becomes at one an offender by the name of
Pashandi.
In the age of Kali, many foolish persons commit such unlawful offense and equalize the two categories.
Okay, Hare Krishna. So there are two. One is the integrated plenary portions. They are the Vishnu Tattvas, and the others are the separated parts and parcels. Separated parts and parcels include all the jivas. Jivas means all of us, but also it includes the demigods who are much, much more powerful than us, but they are also jivas. Tomorrow, if you also follow the Vedic scriptures and the recommendations and do the yagya, you can also become a demigod. Not tomorrow, it will take you many, many lifetimes to get there because it is very, very powerful position. Just like if you want to become a CEO, you want to work very hard, maybe even open up your startup or work in a very big company for many, many years, and then you get to a position of the CEO, right? So it's doable, it's not doable, right? But for demigods we have to do many, many life it may take. So so demigods are actually Vishnu Tattva, not Vishnu Tattvas. So they are not to be equated with the same level as Narayan or Vishnu. That is being mentioned. If we do that, then unnecessarily we'll do offense, and then our spiritual life will slow down and even stop. So we don't want to do that. Okay, we'll go to the next paragraph. Who will read the next paragraph? Any volunteers?
Can I do it again?
Yes, please.
The separated parts and parcels have different positions in the estimation of material powers, and some of them are like Kalabharvya, Samsana Bharvya Sani. I'm sorry, I don't know how to read that.
I'll read this. Kal Bhairava, Shamshan Bhairava, Shani, Mahakali, and Chandika. So these are different names or different demigods, and sometimes the name of expansions of Mother Durga in her ghastly forms, which she takes to accept the worship of those who are demoniac people. Please continue.
These demigods are worshipped mostly by those who are in the lowest categories of the mode of darkness or ignorance. Those demigods like Brahma, Shiva, Surya, Ganesha, and many similar deities are worshipped by men in the mode of passion, urged on by the desire of material enjoyment. But those who are actually situated in the mode of goodness, Satyajna, of material nature, worship only Vishnu Tattvas. Vishnu Tattvas are represented by various names and forms, such as Narayana, Dam,
Damodar, Damodar,
Damodar, Damodar, Vamana, Govinda, and
Adhokshaja.
Adokshija.
Yes. So those who are in the mode of goodness worship whom? Who will tell?
Narayana, Damosa, Prabhuji, the avatars of Vishnu.
They worship Krishna or any of the Vishnu tattvas. So that is in mode of goodness. And what about mode of passion? Who do the people in mode of passion worship?
Ganesha,
Demigods.
Which
demigod just like a Ganesha,
Brahma, Shiva, Surya,
Brahma,
Ganesh.
Shiva, Surya, Ganesha.
And what about those who are in the mode of ignorance?
Kal Bhairav, Samshana Bhairava, Shani, Mahakali, and Chandika.
Yeah, very good. Okay, great. Who will read the next? You want to read this also, Isha?
Sure. The qualified brahmanas worship the Vishnu tattvas represented by the Salagrama Sitya and some of the higher castes like the, I don't know how to say that.
Yeah. So higher castes like the Kshatriyas and Vaishyas also generally worship the Vishnu tattvas. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Isha. So they are mentioning about different modes, people like goodness and everything. Then they are saying qualified brahmanas. One has to be very qualified to worship Vishnu tattvas represented by Shaligram Shila. So anybody knows what is a Shaligram Shila? Is there anybody who can tell what is a Shaligram Shila and explain to everybody?
Ramsila is Prabhuji, the Vishnu.
Yes, Shaligram Shila is actually Vishnu, Lord Vishnu himself. Okay. So what is Shaligram Shila? Anybody else would like to tell more?
Yes, Prabhu. So, Vishnu turned to this stone, Shaligram Shila, because of the a queen. I don't remember exactly the name of a queen who used to be a pure devotee of Lord Vishnu. Because and then she was about to curse Vishnu, because Lord Vishnu has killed her husband. So before she could, and then Vishnu immediately turned to in a stone, and that's a Shaligram Shila.
Okay, so that Leela, I think we'll come to that story some other time with all the details. Um, Anybody else would like to tell anything about Shaligram Shila? Thank you to Suresh Prabhu and to Rajni Mataji for sharing.
प्रभु जी वो शंखचूड़ की वाइफ थी वृंदा देवी, जो कि डेमोनियक, जो माता जी बता रही थी रजनी माता, तो वृंदा देवी थी, तो उन्होंने विष्णु की पूजा करती थी, एंड विष्णु चीटेड हिम, एंड दैट्स व्हाई शी cursed, even though he was so pleased with her bhakti. I'm going in very short कि उन्होंने बोला ठीक है, even though I can marry with you in the form of the stones. So that's the it happened, Prabhuji. It's the incarnation of Mahavishnu.
Yes, Prabhu. So anything else you want to say about Shaligram Shila other than the pastime or anything which is discussed so far?
No, Prabhuji, that's it.
Okay. Anybody else?
Prabhuji, I don't know much, but I've heard, that's what my mom-in-law told me, that you get this Shaligram Shila in Mukti Dham, it's in Nepal. And when you go to that river, if you put a tulsi leaf and then this Shaligram Shila, sometime like it, you just get attached to tulsi and it comes up. So there's a river in Mukti Dham where you get Shaligram Shila. Yeah, and I've heard a story. I don't remember, not a story actually. We discussed it about uh, one acharya, that he, when he went to the river and when he was, he got 12 Shaligram Shilas came to him, and then he said, no, I don't want it. Something like that. And yeah, but that one thing, because she has it and she told me that story about Shaligram Shila in that river in Mukti Dham. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji. Very nice. Thank you. The Kali Gandaki river in Nepal, from there you can get, and you don't have to do Pran Pratishtha for the Shaligram because it's already Krishna himself. And then there are specific forms actually. They can tell you which form of Vishnu is the particular Shaligram when you get. And the worship is very, very high class worship. One has to be a qualified Brahman to do such a worship in the order of the Guru, to take permission from the Guru. And uh, and the obviously, you know, the worship has a lot of benefit and give a lot of benediction. Spiritual advancement is accelerated when we worship the Lord like this. So these are some of the things. Anybody else would like to share anything more about Shaligram, Shila?
Prabhuji, I want to correct my statement a little bit. So when the Vrinda Devi was about to curse Mahavishnu, then he Vishnu, destroyed Vrinda, and she all got fire and everything, and then from the ashes of those
Mataji, let me suggest you something, if you don't mind.
yeah.
Why prepare the whole story and see the details and maybe share in one of the conference calls tomorrow or day after or something. That way, you know, you'll have the whole story,
Okay. Yeah.
right? Because speaking up extempore like this without preparation, sometimes we may not remember the whole thing. So this will be you'll also remember, and all of us also will you know, maybe you can search on ISKCON Desire Tree and other websites, ISKCON websites, you will find it is there.
Just little bit more, Prabhu, and then Vranda, that from the ashes of that, that it becomes a plant and becomes tulsi. But Mahavishnu was so pleased, with her devotion and bhakti. Then he thought that, I will marry you in a stone, and then he married with tulsi in a stone form. I mean, that's how I recollect again. But I can do that definitely.
Yes,
Prabhuji, I can
when we are talking about these pastimes and sharing with so many people, let's make sure that we have all the details and everything clear, right? Because memory, you know, as we have recently read, sometimes we may not be able to recollect.
Yeah, Prabhuji.
No
Sure.
problem. Great. So so that is about Shaligram Shila. Okay, let's go to the next paragraph. Who would like to read next? Okay, Ansh wants to read the first line. Go ahead. Say loudly.
Highly qualified brahmanas situated in the mood of goodness have no grudges against the mood of worship
of others. Thank you. Okay, I'll read next. They have all respect for other demigods, even though they may look ghastly like Kal Bhairav or Mahakali. They know very well that these horrible features of the Supreme Lord are all different servitors of the Lord under different conditions. Yet they reject the worship of both horrible and attractive features of the demigods. And they concentrate only on the forms of Vishnu because they are serious about liberation from the material conditions. The demigods, even to the stage of Brahma, the supreme of all the demigods, cannot offer liberation to anyone. Hiranyakashipu underwent a severe type of penance to become eternal in life, but his worshipable deity Brahma could not satisfy him with such blessings. Therefore, Vishnu and no one else is called Muktipada, Muktipad, or the personality of Godhead, who can bestow upon us Mukti, liberation. The demigods, being like other living entities in the material world, are all liquidated at the time of the annihilation of the material structure. They are themselves unable to get liberation. And what to speak of giving liberation to their devotees? The demigod can award the worshipper some temporary benefit only, and not the ultimate one. It is for this reason only that candidates for liberation deliberately reject the worship of the demigods, although they have no disrespect for any one of them. Haribol. Okay, very clear and straightforward and specific and very nice purport Prabhupada wrote. So, in summary, we respect everybody, but at the same time, we don't get to worshipping any of the ghastly or the attractive features of the demigods, because these are different forms of the uh, demigods, but not equal to Lord Vishnu, and they cannot offer liberation. Okay. Anybody wants to add anything? Any questions, comments, points, realizations from this? So it's a little big next one. So maybe we'll do it tomorrow, not today. But if anybody has any questions, we can take those.
I mean, this is interesting because Prabhupada started this Vaishnavas in Bengal. Kali and Durga worship is very centered to Bengal. So how is that the ones who worship Durga Mata and Kali, they are convinced that the superior or more permanent form of worship and more permanent form of liberation would come to people by worshiping Krishna and not Kali and Durga. Is my question clear?
So, Mazi, your question is that even though Srila Prabhupada was brought up in Bengal, and Bengal has the worship of Mother Durga and Kali as a very, very prominent worship there, and those people are very convinced that this is the way to achieve liberation. Why they are convinced in that way?
No, I'm saying what is the way to bring the ones who worship Kali and Durga to on the side of the Vaishnavas. So how we can convince them that, because what I mean to say is the faith is a very strong thing for people. So those who worship Durga and Kali probably they have equal stronghold of their faith and fellowship as the Vaishnavas or those who worship Krishna. So what
Yes,
is the way to convince? Is that clear?
Yes, now it is clear. So many of the people, they have this conviction. So how to bring them to to the real understanding? So Mataji, there are two things here. First thing is, it's not just in Bengal. Actually, it's all over the country of India, that demigod worship is very prevalent. Even in North India, if you see, many people go to Vaishno Devi, for worshipping. And then if you see different parts of the country, people worship Lord Ganesh. Ganesh Chaturthi is a big festival. Then there are so many worshippers of Lord Shiva all over. So this is going on everywhere. Now the primary thing here is that if the people are serious and sincere and genuine, they actually are the ones who get the association of devotees of Krishna. They are the ones who are who are given the Bhagavad Gita. And who is doing that? The demigods themselves. If you are really seriously and sincerely praying to Mother Durga and they feel that you are not praying to her for some material desires. Most people worship demigods because of material desires. But if you are seriously, sincerely seeking that what is the highest thing, what is the best thing, do what what I will do which will please you the most, then the demigods are actually even more happy, because then they can actually connect you to the right path. They will connect you to devotees. And this is how many of the people come to ISKCON, for example, or in touch with devotees. Many of us, we were not sure about this. Most of us, I can safely say most, if not all, we all had our different thought processes, different ways of worshipping. But somehow down the inner core, we may have had some desire to know what is the highest thing, what is there, what I can do best, and we may have such prayers. Like I remember in my um, childhood, teenage years, I had so many questions, and I was not sure why we go to temple, why do we do things. And I was always praying that please show me the right path, because it was just not satisfying me just going to the temple and asking for what we want. That just didn't fit in my uh, identity to go to the temple for that. So wherever I'll go, any demigod, any temple, any place, I will always pray like this to really guide me, to help me in understanding. And like that, many devotees also have shared with me that how this happened to them also. They had very similar um, feelings. They were very curious and wanting to know. And same is true for even other religions. Many Christians, they are looking for the higher truth and everything. So when we have that curiosity, the scripture says that is athato brahma jigyasa, that you have some spark of curiosity of knowing of the absolute truth, which is starting now. Now you've got a human form of life, and on top of that, now you have the curiosity to know about the absolute. So this means your human life actually started. So then that happens because we are getting the blessings of the uh, demigods actually, and they will connect us to devotees. They will connect you to devotees. And when we are connected, then we have to take seriously. And now, like, talking about how to convince those people, we present the facts. Whoever are inclined or in a position, who are ripe, who have attained enough bhaktonmukhi sukriti, they will automatically have transformation of heart. There are so many Bengalis who are actually living in Vrindavan, who are pure, devotees, Vaishnavas, so many, as if there is a underground tunnel between Bengal and Vrindavan. There are so many people just uh, uh, worshipping there, but we don't see them normally, right? Because we interact with the limited people, different way. I'll tell you recently what happened. I was in my hospital working, and there was a very sick patient, so I had to call uh, a new anesthesiologist. So this new anesthesiologist I called, I realized, oh, this is an Indian guy. So he came to help, and then I met him, and then I suddenly realized he had neck beads like I have. So then our conversation started, and then I realized this guy is a devotee. And he was from Bengal. He was a Bengali, and he was, pretty much, he was in ISKCON and everything. So there's so many such people who we may not be aware about, and they are actually practicing Krishna consciousness in a very pure manner. So things are there. Coming to convincing others, first we have to get convinced ourselves. First we have to pray to Krishna to mm, let us be an instrument in their hands to serve everybody, and in a serving attitude we present these teachings to everyone. And those who are fortunate, who are ripe, who are in a position to understand, who are intelligent, they will read it, they will practice, they will associate, and they will experience it, and then it becomes very natural for them to accept it. Does it make sense, Madhu?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Babaji.
Thank you. Very nice question. Anybody else would like to add anything to what Madhu asked to this question?
Is that why you have to like respect everyone, because you might not know that they're actually devotee of Krishna?
Yeah, actually everybody is a devotee of Krishna. They just don't know. Even a non-human living entity, they also are spirit, soul, part and parcel of Krishna. But they did, because of some ignorance, some mistake, some reason, they are currently suffering in a different body. But eventually their nature is also to be a devotee of the Lord. So respecting everybody is a natural thing for a devotee. The more you are advancing in devotional service, the more you are going, you will naturally develop respect for everybody. And if that respect is coming, that means you're on the right path. If not coming, that means you have to still go further. You need more advancement. So chanting more, reading more, hearing more, attending more uh, meetings like this. So all these things are very important. So everybody is there, but those who are actually clear cut devotees, they are certainly the ones whom we have to pay special attention in terms of respect. You know, everybody we respect, but a new person we respect in a different manner. A great sannyasi or a guru we respect in a different manner. A new person we respect in a way we can give them Krishna. And the great sannyasis or the great devotees who are pure and who are following, to them we respect in such a way that we can learn from them about Krishna. So the way we approach both of them is different. A tiger is respected in a different way. We will be at a distance from a tiger. We don't have to go and respect in the same way as we respect a human, right? So we have to be intelligent on how to respect different living beings. But at the same time, respect is there for everybody. We don't want to give anyone pain. We don't want to find faults in anyone. We don't want to torture or exploit anyone. We want to be causing minimum to no violence. And when we keep chanting, even if some mistake happens, even if something wrong happens to someone, Krishna takes care of that. Our intention should be to do no harm. And in that mood, when we chant to serve Krishna, to please Krishna, then so many mistakes we may be doing in a day, Krishna will take care of all of them. Does it make sense, Isha?
Yeah, but what if you like hurt like a guru or your like spiritual teacher?
So then you go and ask for forgiveness. That I made this mistake, Guru Maharaj. And Guru Maharaj many times, they will they will tell you, explain to you how you can avoid, train you how you can avoid this in future. So like that.
And if you ask for Krishna for forgiveness, will he forgive you?
Yeah, Krishna will, like yesterday we discussed, Krishna will see how much eagerly, seriously, and sincerely we are asking for forgiveness. And anything we do to anyone unknowingly, Krishna will forgive. But if we knowingly we're doing something to someone, then we have to go and say sorry to that person. Then Krishna is very happy. Just like yesterday we discussed Amrish Maharaj's story, right? Amrish Maharaj had immediately forgiven Durvasa Muni. Durvasa Muni had to just go and approach. That's it. So we just go and approach somebody who is a devotee, the devotee will immediately forgive us. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
When we keep praying to Krishna, keep chanting, then Krishna gives us the strength to do so. Okay. Any other questions? All right. So we'll conclude for today. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining and participating. Very grateful for the presence of each one of you. Thank you so much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Pataru
Hare
Krishna
Krishna.
Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare